Last but not least, WHO is very active and sufficient in communicating scientific findings both to the policy field and to the general public. So please, Marco, give your input.
Yes, thank you very much, and also for the invitation. I've been enjoying this workshop quite a lot. It also gives me the opportunity to make a little bit of advertising for tomorrow's symposium on science informs policy, where we'll be looking at especially the situation in European research, the use and generation of new evidence, and how this interacts with the policy making, which is really at the heart of the work that we do in WHO in the European regional office where I come from. Since I'm down under the communication headline, which is a bit new for me and quite exciting, I must say, I'd like to share with you a little episode that we went through some years ago. Actually, Nino's been quite dismissive of his own work. I think the work on quantifying health impact from air quality, but indeed it has been seminal, and the number of citations I think is justified. And as you know, we were among those who followed your example, and we were asked shortly after you came out with your estimates for Switzerland, France, and Austria to do something similar for Italy. And we made our estimation for the main cities, not the whole country, and came up with the usually large numbers, which activated some debate, and it was quite good and influential at the national level. It mobilized a number of people, and the debate was raised in profile. However, sometime later, we were also invited by one of the cities, which I don't want to say which one, in the list, which had kind of a hot local situation, depending on the fact that they had on the table proposed new developments, new emitting sources of PM. And there was a tense situation with citizens, NGOs on one side and the local authorities on the other. And we were asked to go there and present and discuss the data we had, the impacts that we had came up with. And we arrived there, and the situation was indeed quite tense, and there had been, on the day of the event, there had been headlines on the local paper saying 50 deaths per year attributable to air pollution, intolerable or a good, an acceptable impact. This was the level of discussion, and we did have angry committees saying 50 deaths is just impossible. It's 50 human lives lost, and on the other side we had other parties saying, well, compare it to smoking, it's very small, etc. And after a short time, we were able to speak and say, look, wait a second, you got it wrong. It was 500, it's not 50. And there was a moment of, kind of void, but in the end, nothing changed. The debate went on exactly the same. So that is to say, it was an example where it was very evident that accuracy is not really the top priority there. You can kind of get it more or less wrong, but the essence of the debate doesn't change at that level of discussion. Of course, it's totally a different matter, and I agree with the concerns about the need of using the right metric if you embark in cost effectiveness analysis, for example. But in terms of communication, really the accuracy there, the 50 versus 500 didn't really influence the debate. And I'd be curious if in Hong Kong you could run an experiment one day, randomly move your decimal comma, whichever side, and see what happens. I would, I don't know, it would be interesting to see what happens there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this was a very interesting episode. Thank you. We were running out of time. There was one question.
Simon Burkett. I founded the Campaign for Clean Air in London, and I'm really thrilled to see you all here, and I think the Aphekom project is really tremendous. I would encourage you to separate the problem into two things: winning the battle and what happens once it's won. The excellent work done by Dr. Miller really is about what happens once the battle's won. We are in a battle at the moment where the UK government, for example, refers to air pollution being good across 99% of the country, says that the worst that happens is a maximum of 7 or 8 months of loss of life expectancy, which is across 61 million people. The two things that get real impact when I'm talking to the media and to the general public, which I do every week, are attributable deaths and your number of 9.8 years from your 2001 paper, which is that if you're, the years lost per statistical victim, those are two things which have a great deal of impact. They have to be used very carefully with caveats and so on, but those are the things which really help me on the ground. Attributable deaths and the life years lost per statistical victim. I think with the more sophisticated policymakers and others, yes, it's absolutely essential to have years of life lost and monetarize things and so on. But with the general public, we need some really blunt instruments, frankly, to deal with the sort of messages that Professor Headley and I've just described, with the government saying, there's not a problem.
Well, thank you very much. I think it's evident that this discussion cannot be finished now. We already run out of time, and I got lots of input which I have still to think about, and I hope you also will think about it, and maybe you give your input by email. Oh, sorry. You have our website address, aphekom.org, and yeah, I hope we can continue this vital discussion. Thank you.